When I was 22, I started seeing a guy I met on a dating app. His name was Hunter. We went on 4 dates over the span of a little more than a month. At first, things seemed normal. Our first date was quick. Just coffee. Less than an hour. It felt like a screening process, you know? Just to make sure he seemed normal. And he did. At first. Our second date was at a bar. We had a few drinks, got a nice buzz, and it was fine. Nothing out of the ordinary. But by the third date, dinner, I started to notice something off about him. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. His mannerisms, the way he spoke, it just felt wrong. But I brushed it off. I even let him kiss me at the end of the night. It was the first and only time we kissed. I convinced myself that because I let him kiss me, things were fine. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. And then, the fourth date happened. We went out for drinks again, but this time, I went in with a different mindset. I was paying attention, really paying attention, and what I noticed scared me. He drank way too much, started getting touchy, trying to kiss me multiple times. I wasn't comfortable with it, so I turned him down. That's when things took a turn. I told him I was tired and wanted to leave. He paid the bill, and we walked to our cars. But then, he stopped me. He asked if we could go home together. I said no, but he kept pushing. That's when I knew I wouldn't see him again. I got in my car and started driving home. But as I made my way through the streets, I noticed something. His car was behind me. After 3 turns, I realized he was following me. I texted him, "Are you following me?" He replied, "Yes, I just want to make sure you get home okay." I called him, but he wouldn't pick up. My heart was racing. This wasn't normal. This was terrifying. I pulled over and texted him to stop. He did, but only for a moment. Then he drove off. I thought it was over, but it wasn't. When I got home, he texted me again. "I hope I didn't weird you out tonight. Sorry I got so drunk. Next time we should do something more low-key, like dinner at my place." I didn't respond. The next morning he texted again. "Oh no, is the vibe dead?" I waited a bit before responding. But when I did, that's when the angry texts started. He accused me of stringing him along, demanded I pay him back for everything he'd spent on our dates. The texts got angrier, more personal. I blocked him, but that wasn't the end. No caller ID calls, dozens of them. I ignored them all, but then I came home to find a bouquet of flowers on my doorstep, and a card, an apology. He knew where I lived. I sent him one final text. "Do not contact me again. Do not come to my house or I'll file a restraining order." I blocked him for good, but it wasn't over. Not even close. A few nights later, I was home alone. My parents were out of town. I was in bed when I heard it. A noise downstairs. Then, the sound of a door opening. Someone was in the house. I crawled under my bed, my heart pounding. I heard footsteps coming up the stairs. Then, my bedroom door opened. I held my breath as someone rummaged through my dresser. And then, I heard his voice. It was Hunter. He was in my house, in my room. I stayed hidden, barely breathing until he left. Then I called 911. The police came, but Hunter was gone. They found every window unlocked. He'd crawled through one of them. I filed a restraining order, but I never felt safe again. Not until I moved out. Even now, years later, I sometimes wonder if he's still out there, watching, waiting. And I can't help but think, what if I hadn't met him on that app? What if I'd trusted my gut sooner? Some people aren't who they seem. And sometimes, the scariest stories are the ones that are true. After that night, I couldn't sleep. Every creak, every sound in the house made my heart race. I started double-checking the locks on the doors and windows. I even installed security cameras just in case. Hunter didn't stop trying to contact me. He created new social media accounts to message me. He sent emails from anonymous addresses. Each time, I blocked him. Each time, he found a new way to reach out. One day I came home to find another bouquet of flowers on my doorstep. This time, there was no card, just a single red rose. I knew it was him. I called the police, but without proof. There was little they could do. I started carrying pepper spray with me everywhere I went. I changed my routines, different routes to work, different grocery stores. I even started parking in different spots, just to throw him off. Months passed, and the messages slowed down. I thought maybe he'd finally given up. But then, I saw him, standing across the street from my office building, staring at me. I froze. He didn't move. He just stood there, watching. I called the police again, but by the time they arrived, he was gone. They told me to be careful, to stay vigilant. But how could I not? He was everywhere. In my thoughts, in my dreams. He was haunting me. Eventually, I decided to move. I couldn't live like that anymore. Always looking over my shoulder, always afraid. I packed up my life and left the city. I didn't tell anyone where I was going, not even my closest friends. For a while, it worked. I felt safe again. But then, the messages started again. "I miss you," one said. "I'll always find you," said another. I didn't know how he'd found me, but he had. I changed my number, deleted my social media accounts, and started over again. It's been years now, and I haven't heard from him. But I still wonder, is he out there, watching, waiting? Some people aren't who they seem, and sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that are true.